No matter where your political persuasion, people can be extremely stupid. Where did these Karens come from? Did they come out when BLM started or when Trump was elected? Perhaps they were an alien planet. They were from an alien planet where Walmart produced robotic humans. Let's remove the filth in another episode of The Filthy Truth Exposed. What's up, Bilbo?
May the power of truth compel you.
Yeah, it's like from The Exorcist, right? When I did that.
Yeah.
So I got this special clip, man, I wanted to show you. And, a while back we were talking about the vaccines. And, I was saying, well, maybe vaccines are a good idea. But I think this video right here is going to convince you that you should get the vaccine. Everyone should get the vaccine because of this video.
Really? Okay.
It is by far, there's nothing I can say to get people to get the vaccine, but this will do it. Okay, now watch this. Have an open mind, all right? Here we go.
Sure.
Check this out. Yeah. Look at those sheep. Yeah!
Wow, that's a lot of sheep.
You see that? Do you see what just happened there? All right, hold on, bro. I got to read this to you, man. This is pretty amazing stuff. Let me see here. Hold on here.
Is that an anti-vax message or a pro-vax message?
Okay, so basically it's a flocks of sheep, right?
Yeah.
They left some bread for them for 700 sheep. It was in Germany to encourage people to get the vaccine. Okay. And then they put the bread down, and I guess the sheep went over and started eating the bread. And then there it is, man. There's the syringe. Now, check this out. I thought this was really cool. Someone on Twitter said, her name is Sarah. Oh, the propaganda is strong with this one. I would love to find a single person on earth who saw this and thought, you know what? For over a year, I've stood my ground in my convictions while being alienated from family and friends, selectively locked down, discriminated against in the workplace, labeled as a stupid racist misogynist by world leaders, and restricted from traveling. But sheep lining up into a creepy looking syringe is what finally changed my mind.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody put bread out for these sheep to make that shape. And I know they were offering Krispy Kreme donuts at one point for people to get the vaccine in their arm. Like, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, yeah. They're giving out donuts and giving out they're giving out burgers, like a free burger, free French fries if you get vaccinated or something like that. Yeah, I have an opinion on that. But I think it speaks for itself, really.
Did that do it? Do you think that convinced you?
Well, no, it didn't help.
All right, man. Let's play the next video here. So, this one's a good one. You've seen this one before, but let me hit the play on here.
Get out. Get out. Yo, stop.
Get out.
What you guys doing? Get out. What you guys doing? What's wrong with you?
Don't touch me.
Don't you have
Do not touch me.
Get out.
Do not touch me.
Get out. I'm not touching you.
Don't touch me. This lady's freaking out, man.
Yeah, she sounds like Anne Ramsey from Throw Mama from the Train in the Goonies.
Yeah, she does.
Right? It's just the same voice.
Yeah, I like her nose. Let's go back 1 second here, a couple frames here. I just want to point something out here. I like
two
this
phones.
right here.
Get out.
See if
She's holding two phones.
Don't touch me.
Don't you have
Do not touch me.
Get out.
See, now this is the part that always amazes me, right? Is here she removes her mask. That this is really important that she You know, she's mad at this dude for not wearing a mask, and then she exposes her full nose to it. You know what I mean? Okay. Oh man. All right. Let's finish playing this.
Do not touch me.
I'm not touching you. Oh, you just hit me? Did you just hit me?
Get him.
You just hit me.
You just hit me. You too.
Right there.
Black Lives Matter.
Yo, this is great. Wow.
Get out, Black Lives Matter.
This is my favorite part, man. She says Black Lives Matter to this black dude.
Yeah, and she puts an S on matter. She's like, Black Lives Matters. Black Lives Matter. She even says, I swear she says, one of the ladies says, get out, Black Lives Matters. She's like, get out, Black Lives Matters.
Oh, I didn't hear her say that, but yeah.
That's what it sounds like she says to me, yeah.
It just sounds like they're saying Black Lives Matter. But then what I love, I have to say though, my favorite thing about this video is his response, because he says, wow, Black Lives Matter, you know. Oh, shit's too funny, man.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Yo, stop recording me. I don't know you. Yo, you need to stop.
Get out.
I'm not getting out. I was there.
My girl here wants me to come out of the elevator.
Okay, all right. That's the first one. So
And the guy's like, I'm not getting out. I'm not getting out.
right. So she screams, "Do not touch me!" And then she hits him with the phone, and then they start saying "Black Lives Matter," and you know, it's I gotta say this is not a good look when you have the mask like this. I don't know what that. You know, yeah. So, anyways, but I thought this was pretty cool, man. I checked out some of the comments on Twitter that people were saying, and it says, sorry, but if someone touches me like that, I don't care who they are. They won't be yelling after that. They're yelling Black Lives Matter as they are literally attacking a black man for not conforming to them. Wow. White libs have lost the plot. What a weaponized propaganda machine that they chant this phrase while actually abusing a black man. It's not a protective armor that negates personal responsibility to treat others with dignity. It's the flared nostrils and crazy eyes for me. I thought that was good.
Yeah, that's true.
If they're so worried, why don't they just exit the elevator? That's what I thought too. Look,
Yeah, you know, I think it's fair though I think we should say that, you know, we don't really know what happened before this video.
Sure.
So it could be anything, but I mean, these ladies did so much wrong in this video.
Yeah.
And the guy that's filming this, he seems to be innocent, but we just don't know. We really don't know.
Right.
But I think
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
But these ladies still, I mean, they did plenty wrong. Like they did hit him. I mean, maybe he did something before.
It's never acceptable to hit somebody, you know.
And they're saying Black Lives Matter, like, yeah, it gives them some sort of freedom, or like, oh, we're good people by saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. So here's a couple points that I wanted to bring up to you. And we can break this down each one. So the first I thought is this idea about mass a little bit. And basically I kind of see mass in a couple different ways, but one is it's seen as two ways, right? One is it's kind of a social etiquette. It's supposed to protect you, but we'll get into the science of that a little bit. I won't touch too much into that. But then for other people is viewed as restriction of freedom, right? So those that's how I see it, is that there's those two camps, right? There's one that people that see it as, is there a third way?
There's a third camp. I think there's a third camp. Yeah.
Tell me the third one.
The third camp is that people that believe that the masks that people are wearing just are ineffective. You know, that medical mask, especially the cloth mask made out of t-shirt material.
Yeah.
It's everybody's right to wear whatever they want, but if they're wearing something that's ineffective and they're claiming it's effective, I think that's the third camp.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. I was kind of seen as, yeah, but in essence though, it's sort of anti-mask, you know, like because it's ineffective. So
no, it's not, because a person could say, be against the masks that people are wearing because they are ineffective, and
right.
Acknowledging that there are masks that exist that are much more effective.
Right. No, I agree 100% with you on that.
And that's not anti-mask. That's anti cloth
Cloth.
covering.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. So, but I think one thing though is that masks have become also a form of a social etiquette. You know, it's something we're in a society where what it is that people have said, you know, when you put on the mask, you're you're a part of society, right? So that you're engaging this thing where you're like kind of protecting against
Right.
no, that doesn't matter whether it actually works or it's true.
Right.
We're not talking about reality. We're just talking about a lot of people follow a social etiquette, but it doesn't mean that they're doing something. You know, people go
Yeah,
to church and worship a sky god that doesn't exist, but people do it. You know what I mean?
And they call it the mask. It's not a mask. They don't say wear a mask. They say wear the mask. Like it's the mask. Like it's ordained. Like it's this special item. They call it the mask. It's like it reminds me of when they say get the jab or get shots in arms. It's just so. It's not. It doesn't sound humane.
So here's my take on this, right? And I could be wrong, but I just want to ask you about this. So what I feel like with the whole mask thing is a couple things. One is that mask wearing, you know, its effectiveness. Here's the thing about effectiveness of masks, or actually just stopping COVID in its entirety. Let's just say there's a lot of things that you'd have to do, right? So first is you have to have your eyes, some kind of eye protection. They've done studies and they've shown that you can have your mask on, but it could still enter through your eyes. So basically, if you're exposed, if your eyes are exposed, you could still supposedly get COVID, right? And then the other one, which I'm addressing one of the things that you talked about, which is you have to have an N95 to really be the most effective that you can be, right? Is that you have to have the N95. And the thing about that is it also has to be like on correctly. You can't have it like this, and it has to be tight, you know? So it's kind of like all that stuff has to be. And even then, as an extra protection, you have to social distance. You can't social distance in a plane. You can't social distance in an elevator. It's literally impossible, right?
Or physical distancing, I think.
Yeah, physical distancing.
I feel like that's a better term, physical distancing.
Physical distancing. So
that's part of the cult too, is to call it social distancing, because it's not actual. They want you to socially distance because that keeps people from communicating with each other. They're literally saying, don't communicate, don't trade ideas and thoughts by social distancing. But for medical purposes, they really mean physical distancing. Like physical distancing makes some sense medically, but they call it social distance. They're like social distance, wear the mask, get the jab. I mean, those all sound like this cult kind of religion thing to me.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't 100% agree with that, but I do see your point. So I do see your point. But I guess what I'm trying to say though is that I feel like if you're gonna fly in a plane and you have your mask or whatever it is that you're gonna do, or you're gonna get in an elevator, you might as well just not worry about whether someone's around you is wearing a mask or not, because you're not really that safe anyway, right? It's not. You might as well just be like, well, you know, it's something I have to do. You know, for some reason, you know, maybe you have to go to work, you have to do this, you have to fly. But if you're flying in a plane, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you have to take off the mask to eat. Do you think that the mask, that the vaccine, like, does it not the vaccine, but do you think the coronavirus, it like, you know, waits and says, oh, you took off your mask just to eat, so I'm gonna, you know what I mean, I'm gonna leave you alone for a while, and then you see my
right? Yeah, they give you peanuts. They give everybody a bag of peanuts when you get on the plane. They're like, here's your slip to, you know, just pop a peanut, you get 50 peanuts, and now you have 50 opportunities to take your mask off. It's like, it really doesn't make any sense.
Right. Okay. So, and then my second point is that regardless of, you're going to find people that, you know, are more towards the, I guess you could say, freedom, or they don't want to wear a mask, or they don't want to get vaccinated, or whatever it is in our society. There's those people, and there's people that are very, you know, they think you should follow a certain thing. But I feel like we've lost this thing of being able to talk with each other and discuss ideas, and there's a lack of respect for each other. And this is what I'm talking about, or in this video is a perfect example where it's just like it's some crazy lady. She doesn't even know what she's saying, you know? And I'll play this other clip too. You see the similar thing. This lady just freaks out. Here, let's just watch this just for a moment here. Let me hit play here.
So she can come out of the elevator.
Can you hear that?
Because it's a small space. We're supposed to maintain social distancing. I don't understand why you can't just politely step out to allow me out of the elevator. When I asked you nicely, why would you have been wearing your mask?
I asked nicely.
Nicely, you said get the out. You didn't ask me nicely.
She's like, I asked nicely. This lady's freaking out. Let me go
Yeah,
back
I feel
a little
bad
bit.
for this girl actually, because you can tell she's really consumed with this fear, and in a sense, like I don't really blame her for being so upset that somebody is she feels like this person could have a disease because she's getting all these messages from the media, but yet she's hanging out in an elevator where she feels unsafe because the disease could get into the air and be trapped in there for who knows how long. And so in a sense, like, you know, if there's a communicable disease spreading around, I think it makes sense that she would be scared. But it's sad too, because she's really afraid, and if she's that afraid, she really shouldn't be hanging out in an elevator.
So let me ask you this though. One thing is we actually can. I was going to say we can't see the lady, but in this one, it's like you can actually see the lady as a reflection of her, and it looks like she's got her mask on, right?
Yeah.
So in the other example, the person didn't have a mask, and I feel like in both cases, right, that probably the best thing that these people could have done is just simply step off the elevator, act like you're going off the floor, and let the other person who doesn't wear a mask, who doesn't give a shit, let them go on, and they can go where they want. And then, but you know, it is sort of like, you know, I don't know. But anyways, that's just my take on it, you know? So
yeah, there's a sense of authoritarianism here where it's like this girl with the blue mask is talking to the person with the black mask saying, I demand you wear your mask in a certain way that's acceptable to me. And making demands on other people really is not appropriate in public. And that's kind of that line is getting crossed, or it's getting expanded in a way that I think is harmful to people. And I think we could even get into at some point, and maybe we'll do a video on this, on the idea of mass formation psychosis, where people are getting fed all these ideas mostly from the corporate media that's really creating this sort of way of thinking that's not healthy, and it sort of is a sort of a sense of mind control or sort of cultish behavior.
But one thing I get from you though is you don't, you really kind of strongly don't believe in this social etiquette, that it's something that we're not responsible for that kind of stuff. So what I mean that is what I'm trying to say is this, is that if you know that there's a pandemic around and supposedly masks are supposed to work, right? And regardless of whether they work or not, majority of people feel it does work, right? So therefore, when someone is more blatant about it and they don't wear a mask, usually what happens is someone's not wearing a mask. Most people don't say anything about it. So most of the time, there isn't much that happens. I mean, depending on where you are, yes, it's true that, you know, we have confrontations sometimes between people in different ways. But for the most part, I mean, it's like they, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but they just kind of, but then it's plays like this too. So it's but anyways, I don't know. I lost track of my mind here, what I was going to say, but that's all right. You want to hear, should we finish rushing this?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
The elevator. No. My girl.
You know what happened there? Let's go back a little bit here. Hold on. Let's go back on this clip slightly here, because there was something that we kind of missed here on this one.
This girl obviously is having some sort of an anxiety issue.
Yeah, she's flipping out, but I'm not quite sure why, because the other lady has a mask. Maybe it's because she wants to be all alone in the elevator. I think that's part of it.
I think the girl with the blue mask, she does say at some point that she has some sort of autoimmune disorder, some sort of she feels that she's extra vulnerable to this disease.
Right.
We're supposed to maintain social distancing. I don't understand.
Well, that's what it is. So Look, lady, if you're going to hop on an elevator, you're not going to get social distancing.
Right.
What are you going to do? Just tell people they can't get on the elevator with you? You know,
That's what she's trying to do.
That was my point earlier, which is to say, if you're on a plane or if you're on an elevator, you can't really social distance. You know what I mean?
Right. So if physical distancing is important to you, then you really don't belong in these spaces. You don't belong in an elevator.
But let me say this though: if you're at a grocery store and I see someone who's blatantly not wearing a mask and they're running around, you know what I mean? They're breathing on people and spread. You know what I mean? I don't know if that person has COVID.
Right.
So that actually does make me upset when I see that. But whereas this, I kind of feel like.
But then you shouldn't be at the grocery store. You shouldn't be at the grocery store then.
I don't agree. This is where you and I are different. I feel like there is a social etiquette, which means that when you don't have a mask, you're spreading the virus more, or you have a potential to spread it, right?
I mean, if you're calling a piece of T-shirt material a mask, then it sounds like...
No, you're right. But again, there's two parts to this. One is the effectiveness of the mask. That's true. You're right. You have to have the proper mask. The difficult part is that they did a horrible job of explaining that you should have a certain type of mask. That's true. That there was a really bad job as far as the CDC goes and Fauci and all that. Like, I agree with you there, but it doesn't matter. You have a society. Majority of the people of the society feel this way, and so you can, and it isn't like you don't have to follow that. Of course, you can blatantly do whatever you want. It's not saying it's against the law. It's nothing about that. It's just that there is a social etiquette. It's just like, you don't walk around naked, do you? In front of the public, you can go for it, right? But then people will look at you weird or whatever. Like there's certain things that, like just like a stop sign. Do you have to stop? Well, I mean, it's kind of against the law. You're supposed to. There's certain things that we do in our society, even shit like how far we stand from somebody when we're talking to them. There's a distance proximity, which is different.
But you understand when you go out driving, you understand some people will not stop at a stop sign. So that's a risk you take when you go out driving. You decide, I'm going to go out driving, and I know most people stop at the stop signs, but some people don't. Yeah. But you still decide to go driving, so you take that risk on. When
people break a social etiquette, the normal thing happens is that people get upset at them. That's all I'm trying to say is that when social etiquettes are broken, people are going to get mad. I understand.
It's your right to get upset too. That's fine. A little
bit of why people get upset. But in a case like this, let's be practical here. I mean, you can't social distance in an elevator, and I also think most of the time the best thing to do is just to walk away. Is just wait for the next elevator. But
take the stairs.
You could make the case that you could say, well, masks aren't that effective, especially because everyone's wearing a cloth mask. So it seems like a pointless thing. But here you have kind of a minority belief versus a majority of belief. So majority belief believes one way. And so what you're saying is, well, then if the most of the people believe this and I believe that, then it's okay to break the social norms. And maybe it is. I don't know.
Well, I definitely do think it's okay to break social norms. And but I'm with you on, if you get upset, it's your right to express that you're upset and you want a person to, you're like, oh, put your mask up. But that doesn't give you the right to force a person to do something. And you can't put your hands on them.
Of course. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. You can't force somebody, like this person is sort of demanding, like they feel like they have the right to demand this person not get in the elevator. The reality is there's no elevator police, right? It's like the elevator is like a free thing where anyone can hop on it. You know what I mean? And go, and go do that,
and I can relate to you, like you're saying when you go to the grocery store, if somebody gets too close to you, that makes me uncomfortable too. Cause I'm like, I don't know, I don't know that much about this disease. Maybe they have it and maybe they're spreading it to me now or whatever. That's why I wear the proper mask when I'm in those situations.
Yeah.
And like, for example, if I was as afraid as this girl, and sometimes I am, like, I'm concerned, like, I don't know who's going to get in the elevator with me. I don't take the elevator. I would take the stairs. And I've done that a few times whenever I've gone into a building where there's an elevator. I take the stairs because I feel like, well, it's less chance I'm going to run into somebody. But at the same time, if somebody came into the elevator, I'm not going to tell them to do something. I'm just going to be like, oh, I put myself in this situation,
Right,
so it's my job to extricate myself from the situation.
Exactly. That's what I think.
I'm not going to be an authoritarian.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I agree. So, and then the other, I think another point is too, of course, is that anybody, no matter what your politics are, can be racist. Like, you know what I mean? Like anybody can be an asshole. You know, anybody can. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's like that's something that, you know, it's like it doesn't matter. Because obviously the lady that we saw in the beginning there, I don't know what was going on in her head, but it's like maybe she doesn't see color. I was thinking maybe she doesn't realize that the guy's black. That's what I was thinking.
You know, yeah, those two ladies.
But go ahead.
I kind of got a feeling maybe those two ladies, maybe they have some sort of mental issues or some sort of handicap. And I don't mean that as an insult or anything, but like I want to give those ladies,
too, you know,
they what?
They could be high on meth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could. I kind of just want to give those ladies the benefit of the doubt because in that video, they look so bad. They were behaving so inappropriately that I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they have some issues going on and we should really give them a pass. Like that's possible.
Now the last point that I wanted to bring up, which is a small thing, you know, but what is it called? Like an antidote. I think it's an antidote where it's like, you know, I can string, for instance, like I can take, let's say people that support Trump, right? And I can take like 50 or 20, whatever. It doesn't matter the amount. I could pick 20 people out of people that support Trump, and I can find the craziest shit that they've done, and I can string it together, and then I could say, you see, people who support Trump are nuts. And the same goes with someone who supports Biden or anyone or anything, you know what I mean? So, and it's a very powerful tool. You know, I'm sure I've probably done that in some of my videos. I'll string stuff together and be like, here, see, here's my point, you know? So, I mean, it's just something to look out for, though, because it doesn't prove reality. It doesn't prove that that's what's happening. It just shows you an example, a moment in time, and a specific example. And as long as people understand that, that's good. But I don't know. What do you think about what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree with you. You're just saying to look out for sort of your biases, like, and also if you see something that happens, it doesn't represent necessarily a whole group of people, and So
anyways, well, I think that's all I got to add, and this was fun, man. I mean, if people like this stuff, I'll do more of this because it's fun to me. I actually like this kind of stuff more than, you know, trying to be all philosophical sometimes, you know, because it just gives me a headache, you know what I mean? So with that, you know, like and subscribe, and I hope to do more videos. I'm gonna put out I made a Star Wars trailer for the first The New Hope or A New Hope, or now I'm confused. Is it The New Hope or A New Hope? I don't know. It's one of those. Now I feel like I'm messing up now with my grammar. I don't know which one to use. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's coming out. So, you know, it's not gonna look like a really great trailer, but it'll be okay. You know what I mean? It should be fun. You thought it was okay, right?
Oh yeah. But I'm right now. I'm really into working with Captain Picard and Whoopi Goldberg right now. You know,
and for the background, it's nice, man. It's really nice.
All right. Yeah. Check us out on Spotify if you want to hear the audio podcast, and on YouTube if you want to see the video podcast. If you're listening to us on the audio podcast right now, switch over to YouTube and you can watch the videos that we're talking about.
I just gotta get off my ass and record it, you know what I mean, and put it out there, you know, but I'll do it so soon here. So all right, with that I say goodbye, and you know, thanks again. Like and subscribe.